welcome back to Close Up. On Organization Day, Portsmouth Democrat Laura Pantelakis was sworn in for her 20th term in New Hampshire House, which amounts to 40 years of service when the current term expires in 2018.
It's always been an honor to me to be elected by the people. My first day that I came in here, I cried. I couldn't believe that they had selected me to serve them.
Now, congratulations to her, but consider this when you add Gene Chandler, who has 18 terms, along with David Cody, who also has 18. We're talking about 112 years combined service, State House experience between just those three alone. Now, on the other spectrum of that, roughly a third of the House members are new. So what is it like to be a fresh face in a 400-member body? I am joined by Keene Democrat Representative Will Pearson, coming off his first term. Good to see you, sir.
Pleasure to be
for joining
here.
us.
Thanks.
Yeah, so 25 years old, you're in law school right now, and you're serving now your second term in the State House. What was the first one like for you?
It was great. Well, there's a reason I came back, obviously. So the first term was I looked at it as almost like a master's program. It was a tremendous learning experience, and I had actually David Cody, you mentioned. He was one of my mentors there. Congratulations to Laura and Gene as well for their service and their tenure. But I had great mentors and obviously a great excuse to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild election year. Some people might have been done with politics, but you're back for another one while going to law school. You're also sitting on the Election Law Committee. This is expecting you're going to be busy because there's a lot of bills out there where we're talking about whether getting rid of same-day residency, all kinds of different things. What are your concerns from the Democratic point of view?
Well, they're largely the same concerns I had going into last term, and that's why I requested election law for the previous term. I should mention that we don't have committee assignments yet. They're all up in the air. We've requested what committees we'd like to be on. Election law was at the top of my list, But again, last term, my incentive for being there was campaign finance reform, and I discovered these other issues like same-day registration and this 30-day residency requirement, which we saw come in a couple of forms last year. And I've been getting really acquainted with the process through Secretary of State Bill Gardner and his deputy David Scanlon, who are on the committee all the time. So I know the issues better than I did, obviously, going into it last year. And I'm hopeful.
Do you share the concerns, though, that a lot of Republicans do have that, you know, the drive-by? I mean, Secretary of State Bill Gardner, he says he's worried that drive-by voting, you know, people who come up here, live here for a few days, work on a campaign, cast a ballot and leave.
Sure. Well, he's worried about that, but he's also said that we had no instances of voter fraud this past election, and that has been his testimony, along with Deputy Scanlon's testimony for the past 2 years on election law. I mean, it's been the trend we've seen nationwide, too. I think we had 4 serious recorded incidents of voter fraud in this past national election. And I've been working with the ACLU about these bills and talking with them about it. And if you look at old Supreme Court cases, Dunn v. Bloomstein, for instance, talks about the compelling state interest in installing residency requirements. And a suspected voter fraud just isn't one of them. So that's one of the avenues that we've been fighting back on with these 30-day residency requirements, because frankly, it's just not constitutional.
Sure, and as a college student, I imagine you bring this a little bit of a different perspective, because it could, depending on the changes that are made, have an impact.
Well, absolutely, and that's why the New Hampshire State House is so unique, is that young and old obviously get the chance to serve there. So I've got colleagues like Travis Bennett, who was on election law as well, another young rep who is really married to these issues pertaining to college students. I mean, when we're talking about 30-day residency requirements, who's that going to affect? It's going to affect college students and potentially new homeowners in the state of New Hampshire.
And we'll see what the language looks like. There could be some provisions in there, but it is certainly going to be a topic. So, all right, so you just wrapped up your first term. You're going into your second. Roughly a third of the House is brand new. Yeah. What advice do you have for somebody who's coming up and saying, hey, Will, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah, I have no idea. No. Well, the sage advice that I got my freshman term was to sit back and watch the process. And I'm going to preface by saying this isn't to stifle anyone from filing bills or legislative activism, but we're projected to see around 1,800 bills for these 2 years, and New Hampshire is unique in that the State House sees every bill that's proposed. So we're talking about 424 legislators, all proposing multiple bills. I have 5 on the docket already. So in your first year,
did you file any bills your first year?
I filed 1, but actually no, my second year. It was my first term. So I took the advice, not file bills my first year, watch the process, and I filed a bill that would ban microbeads from body gels and washes in the state of New Hampshire. federal government took that on and did it before I got to. But it was a great chance to dip my feet in the process, and it's advice that I'd give to all the oncoming reps, and that I do give, that you should observe and then and try to get involved when you can.
But don't jump in head first to kind of understand how the whole thing works.
Yeah, absolutely. Co-sponsor.
That's probably good advice. All right, so now in the second term, you said you have a number of bills that are filed. Kind of run through what your priorities are, what your goals are.
Yeah, absolutely. So they run the gambit. So I've got easy bills on one side of it. I've got a naming bill. We've got a pedestrian walkway bridge in Keene that spans 101, and we'd like to name it after the veterans of the city. Senator Khan and I just had decided. And I've got also bills, another election law related bill would be the Electoral College. There are a number of states who have assigned their Electoral College delegates. I know. This is much more controversial than the naming bill.
Yeah, I wish we started with this because we only have about 30 seconds to go.
My apologies. Yeah, no, it would allow our Electoral College delegates to vote with a popular vote versus how the state went. And a number of states have already done this. I think until 270 worth of Electoral College vote states do this, it's ineffective, but we're hoping to get that number eventually.
Moving forward, I mean, it is going to be a big issue. We have about 20 more seconds. Can you see yourself doing this again in 40 years like Laura Pantelakis?
Hey, if I'm lucky enough, if the voters of Keene will have me.
Well, I'm impressed by the fact that you're in law school, going to earn your degree, and you're serving the state for, well, I mean, it's about the money, isn't it? $100 a year?
No, 97 after taxes, I was saying. Yeah.
Will Pearson, I appreciate it. Best of luck in this session.
Thank you again.
Good to see you. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Kelly Ayotte. Upon her arrival in Washington 6 years ago, she immediately became a star of the Republican Party. She quickly earned respect from her veteran colleagues. Her loss in November, though, was admittedly difficult, but it now seems clear that in her speech that she gave on the Senate floor that she wouldn't trade this experience for anything.
First and foremost, I want to thank the people of New Hampshire for giving me the extraordinary opportunity to serve them.
It was a sweeping display of gratitude in which Senator Kelly Ayotte thanked everyone from her family and staff to the Capitol Police. But she reserved most of her time for the voters who put her there.
True to the nature of our great state, they have never been shy about letting me know what's on their minds. Whether it was at one of the 50 town hall meetings we held or in the grocery aisle at the Market Basket.
Ayotte says one of the most rewarding aspects of the last 6 years was standing up for the men and women of the armed forces. Fittingly, it was a veteran who was among those who followed Ayotte to the floor.
Senator Ayotte has approached every issue candidly and pragmatically. Sometimes, and that's something that is all too often lacking in this politics today.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen also thanked Ayotte for her service in Washington, the Democrats saying while they often disagreed, they were never disagreeable.
Over the last 6 years, Senator Ayotte has earned respect on both sides of the aisle in this body and in New Hampshire.
Ayotte called her term in the Senate the honor of a lifetime, just before offering one final thanks.
Mr. President, I thank you and I yield the floor.
Well, as for Ayotte's future, that remains very much unclear, but she does have a strong resume. But following the election, she also said whatever she decides to do next, she will continue to serve New Hampshire in any way she can.